this video tutorial we're learning how to write the Japanese word for shopping, which is kai-mono. Now this word consists of two parts. The left-hand bit, kai, is the stem of the verb to buy, to purchase. And the right-hand bit is mono, which means a thing. And it's the kind of thing that you can touch, a tangible thing. You put them together and you get kai-mono, shopping, or things that you buy. This is the first character. It has the core meaning of to buy or to purchase. And let's have a look what it used to look like in its ancient forms. Let's focus on the bottom portion of this kanji first of all. Have a look at that on the bottom. The very old characters are not that obvious, but this one here is a beautiful example. And this one here as well shows nicely. Oh, look at this one. It's actually a picture of a shellfish, and that's gorgeous. Here's another one. There's a shellfish there on the bottom. That motif is still very obvious. Shellfish, shellfish, shellfish. There we have that shellfish. And this is the one from 2,000 years ago, which is when they standardized kanji. Now the reason that you see a shellfish in this character is because in ancient times shells were used as a form of currency. They were very rare, so you could use them as money. So in many characters where there's some element of commerce, buying and selling, you see this character, this element of a shellfish. Now let's have a look what's on top. Again, we'll start with the ancient characters. Have a look at this here and see if it reminds you of anything. This one here perhaps is much clearer. In fact, it's a net. And when you buy something, the person who's selling it to you grabs your shells, your currency, in a big net and takes it for himself. Now let's have a look at the stroke order. Okay, the top portion is that box shape, so it's the usual rule. Down on the left, across and round on the right. Before you finish the box off, you put all the strokes on the inside, so here we have left to right, 2 strokes there, and close it off, and there's our net. Although I actually like it better if I think of it as a little kiosk with 3 windows where you can go and buy things. Now underneath we have the shellfish, and it begins with an element which is identical to the kanji for eye, as in the thing that you have 2 of above your nose. Again, it's a box shape here, so we go down on the left-hand side, as usual, across and all the way round and down on the right without taking our pen off. Any lines in the middle of the box are done now, so left to right, there's the first one, second one, left to right, and then we close our box off. And finally we do these 2 shapes, which we know as animal legs. So a great big eye on top of animal legs. I'm not sure whether that gives you a really great idea of a shellfish. Perhaps in this case we can think of those animal legs as 2 little kind of tentacly things sticking out of that shellfish. And there we have the character meaning to buy, the first part of our word for shopping. The second part of the word is this character here. It's pronounced mono. It means thing, a tangible thing, something that you can touch, and it consists of 2 parts. Let's have a look if we can identify those 2 parts when we look at the ancient forms of this character. Okay, let's focus on the left-hand part. Here it is on the one that's the most modern of all of these, 2,000 years old. It looks a little bit like a devil's trident, doesn't it? But actually, it's a cow. Let's have a look down here. You can see here, quite consistent. And the top part there, those are the 2 horns. And then the rest of it, well, I suppose you'd be guessing a little bit as to what the rest of it was, but it was the rest of the animal. Whether it was the rest of his head or the body, I'm not certain. Now the right-hand portion, that's this element here, that was in fact a picture of streamers, and that lent the meaning of various to this character. So here we had various kind of cows, which initially just stood for animals, but then later on it came to mean just anything, just basically thing. So all sorts of different kind of cows, that's just things, stuff. Now we're going to look at the stroke order of this character. So on the left we're going to do the remaining horn from the cow, then the top of his head, we'll just assume it's his head, then a nice stripe down the middle of his head, which lots of cows have, and then that's the bottom of his head. So there's the cow. Now the right hand side, perhaps rather than streamers, it's easier to remember this as the cow's forelegs. So one leg, second one all the way around without taking our pen off, and an optional tick at the bottom, second leg, third leg, fourth leg. And there we have mono, or thing. And we put it all together and we get kai mono. Let's just go over the kai. There's the net on top. Finish that off. Then we've got the eye of the shellfish underneath. Yes, I know they don't have eyes. Then we've got animal legs, 1, 2. So that gives us the core of bai. Then we need the i to make it kai. And here on the right, we've got our cow. And 1, 2, 3, 4 legs. Kaimono. Now that's the noun. So you could, for example, say, I like shopping using kaimono. Kaimono ga suki desu. But if you want to turn that noun into a verb, then you'll need to add shimasu on the end. So if you want to say, I will go shopping, then kaimono shimasu is what you would say. Kaimono shimasu. Shopping and to go shopping.